ॐ सदाशिवसमारम्भाम् शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ताम् वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः ध्यानन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थित तद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तन्न विदुः सुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः देवाय तस्मै नमः। So today let's look at the overview of the 12th chapter. We will likely not chant any mantras. So this chapter is titled Bhakti Yoga. So, you've got every chapter being called some yoga or the other, Arjuna Vishada Yoga onwards. Then Sankhya Yoga, Karma Yoga, then Jnana Karma Sannyasa Yoga, like this. So many yogas are there. Then what happened? The Hindus become very proud. They said, you know what? We have many, many paths to gain moksha. Why? How many paths are there? At least 18 paths are there, if you are exposed to Bhagavad Gita, right? One of the paths is Arjuna Vishada Yoga. Sadness is a way to moksha. We don't say all sadness is the way to moksha and all these are silly statements. Don't say all that. And so, yeah, it means topic. The topic of Arjuna's sorrow, which sets up the stage for him to tell Krishna that, hey, I'm your shishya. Nobody says I'm a shishya when they're sad. Such a statement doesn't arise at all, actually. But the context is all set up that Arjuna has that opportunity to see that I am confused. I'm confused. Because he himself must have realized that, you know what, the fact that I'm sad in a battlefield, I've never been like this before. I've fought so many battles, and now my legs are weak, hands are weak. This is a situation he himself must not have experienced. That is why he says something is wrong. And so rather than, and he goes all the way and says, I'm confused, therefore you need to teach me. He doesn't even say, you need to advise me. See, advice is okay. I want advice, I'm confused, is all right. That's normal. But where is the question of teaching? And so, this is therefore, Arjuna is a mature person, is understood, has come a long way, even before the Bhagavad Gita, right? And so, in the third chapter, what does Krishna say? Sri Bhagavan Vacha, Lokesmin Dividha Nishtha, Pura Prokta Mayanaga. Hey, there are two Nishthas in Asmin Loke, means for all people in this world, regardless of your background, religion, this and that. Jnana Yogena Sankhyana, Karma Yogena Yogina. Use two words, Jnana Yoga and Karma Yoga, correct? So that gives us the starting point. That Jnana Yoga, for Brahma Vidya, Antakarana Shuddhi, and Karma Yoga to get ready for Jnana Yoga. That's all. This is the best way to understand it. And Krishna says it. And then he also says, Pura Prokta Mayanaga, means I told this long ago. It was told long ago. Like that he says. So I'm not saying anything new, right, Krishna? So therefore, where is the question of so many different yogas? We have to keep all that in mind before we enter this chapter. And we saw last chapter itself, this Bhakti Yoga is not one particular lifestyle or a discipline, but it is a combination of disciplines. We saw that last time, that the Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga are together called as Bhakti Yoga here. It's like combining everything. And Swami Paramarthananda ji brings in Upasana Yoga also in between. So Karma Yoga, Upasana Yoga, Jnana Yoga. Upasana Yoga also, if you are very strict, it can come under Karma Yoga itself. But for our understanding, it is split from Karma Yoga. So no confusion there. Then the rest will follow. Okay. So that's our background here. And so, very interesting thing. This bhakti, the word bhakti, appears a couple of times here in the Bhagavad Gita. Okay. Bhaktiyatur ananyaya, we saw it in the last chapter. But have you seen bhakti many times in this Bhagavad Gita so far? I mean, I cannot recollect that it came so many times. So, in the Veda, we chant the Yajurveda every morning. We spend about 45 minutes chanting a portion of the Yajurveda, keep marching. And you won't find the word bhakti. You won't find the word bhakti at all. If bhakti is so big, it should be there. It should be all over the Veda, correct? Not there. Not there at all. Very interesting. And Swami Paramarthanandaji makes the statement that practically not used in the Vedas, the word bhakti. Okay? We should know all these things. And in the Upanishads also not used. Upanishads we are familiar, very familiar. And so they are not used. Upanishads not used at all. You have to be wondering what happened. Okay? Vishnu Sahasranamam is there. So much bhakti is there everywhere. And bhakti is there in all the smriti. Most of the smriti, there is bhakti. Then how come? Right? How come question should come? And if Upanishad is Vedanta, right? Vedanam Antaha. If Upanishad is the last thing one is going to study when they study Vedas, how come Bhakti is not there? That shows that Bhakti is so constant. It is given. It's a given. It's a given. It is such a given like breathing is given. Nobody asks, do you breathe? Kind of question is that, do you breathe? Yeah, I breathe. Yes. If you really want to know, if you have a doubt, yes, I do breathe. That's all you can say. But the question cannot be asked. Nobody asked that question. So you can ask in the night, do you do this? What do you call? They have a machine. It's called the sleep apnea. They have a machine for sleep apnea. Okay, because
PAP, PAP machine. PAP.
CPAP. CPAP.
Yeah.
CPAP machine. Correct. You can ask. Okay, in the night, do you need that? Because otherwise, there is a lot of benefit from that. That you can ask. You can't say, do you breathe? Like that. Bhakti is like this. Is given karma yoga. Prasada buddhi, Ishwararpana buddhi. How can you have that without bhakti? It's not possible. So we take bhakti for granted. We take bhakti for granted. And so that's the way to look at this. And so Swamiji always, it's almost like a consolidation of everything we have studied in this chapter. Okay, Karma Yoga, Upasana Yoga, and Jnana Yoga will be talked about in various contexts. And And Krishna will subdivide this into further divisions. Karma yoga means what? So if I visualize one's life, if we visualize that, the typical person starts off the life as a artha pradhana purushaha and kama pradhana purusha. Artha and kama seems automatic to every human being. So I want security, I want some fun. I want to have some fun, I want to be safe. I want to have some fun, I want to be safe. That's it. I want to feel safe. Once I feel safe, I want to have some fun. This is the constant. This is what goes on. And somehow, if the child is born in a functional home, functional home, then the child is told to study and this and that happens. And none of it the child likes. No child likes any of these things. And so it's very unfortunate, right? How come life is like this? Now we start our life and constantly being scolded and being shouted at all the time. So this happens until artha and kama is there. Oh, there is something called dharma. It's not obvious at all. Look at it. Dharma comes, of course. Some of us know what dharma is, yeah, as we grow up. But in general, I mean, child has to be told what dharma is, and trying to get away. We try to get away with stuff until somebody says, "No, you can't get away like this, my dear boy, my dear girl. You can't do that, right?" And then make it look like this. Child will look like this. Do you want somebody to take away your toys? Then you look like this. That looking means processing going on. CPU work हो रहा है यहाँ, काम कर रहा है, gears are moving. And then, oh boy, that's a good question, right? And then that is the starting point, I suppose, for dharma. So, uh, Bhagavan Krishna in this chapter says, okay, fine, artha pradhana purushaha bhava, kama pradhana purushaha bhava. Okay, artha and kama, let it be. Go for it. It is no, it's not a crime. Just karta and kama are not crimes. They are purusharthas, really speak. No, nothing, no problem. But then don't forget about dharma. That is the condition. Keep dharma also. One, two, three. Dharma also keep it next to you. Follow dharma. That is the condition. Appreciate dharma. Respect dharma. Respect the sentiments of people. Respect other living beings. Animals are there. They also deserve your attention. They also deserve your attention. The pain of the animal, recognize that, be sensitive to that. And of course, the environment, all these things, be sensitive. Then do what you have to do. It's not very difficult at all. So that is the part one of Karma Yoga. And of course, bhakti is there. Bhakti is not given up. So the bhakti also comes automatically for this person. You know why? Because artha and kama, the guy is smart. He recognizes. Bhagavan to rakhna chahiye. Ek pocket mein. So on those days, we used to keep pen and all those things. These days, I don't know if people use this pocket concept there or not. I don't. But a pen will be there. Something or the other will be there. And then we come home, and then mother will say, "What is all this stuff full of ink?" They made us carry this pen with ink. I don't know why they did that. ಎಲ್ಲ ಕೈ ಕಾಲು ಮೂಗು ಎಕ್ಕೆ ಬರ್ತಾನೋ ink. So these days, I think, I don't know. I have to check at the store whether they sell fountain pens. They may do it. So एक पॉकेट में रखो, दूसरा पॉकेट में भगवान को रखना चाहिए. So that Bhagavan is always there, that person. And so if then why Bhagavan is required? Well, प्रार्थना, पूजा प्रार्थना के लिए तो भगवान चाहिए ही. But then prasada buddhi, minimum prasada buddhi you try to inculcate in your life. Prasada, okay? And so that also requires a lot of growth, a lot of thinking, a lot of, shall I say, practice also. And so we do have, especially those born in this culture will automatically have it. So you buy a house or come to a new house, automatically it's all sanctified. Without sanctifying, nobody will enter a house. Automatically, the pujas, whatever pujas, whether it is a people living in remote villages, okay, or palatial houses and all that, doesn't matter. That that buddhi is there, and Bhagavan. This is Bhagavan's house. So the first person to enter this house is Bhagavan. So picture लगा के सब फोटो गट्टू सब करके everything is done sanctified. That's it. So we are entering a temple. We're not entering a house. So prasada buddhi, child is born. Child is born. Only in India you'll have a name called Prasad. I used to have a friend called Rajanaga Prasad. And the more south you come, the longer the name also. You know, so Rajendra Prasad, Rajanaga Prasad, and then Hindu Kumar, Venkateshwara, Rajanaga Prasad. Big names. They have big names. Yeah, especially Andhra, where I grew up. The names used to be pretty big. And yeah, these days we are trying to abbreviate. Anu, Anil, they have small names. Anu, just two syllables, that's it over. Beyond that, don't go. Nice. We can do anything with Sanskrit, so it doesn't matter. And so Prasad. Why Prasad? Because Prasad. Yes, a boy, girl is a Prasad, no doubt. And that's a beautiful attitude. And the house also, they give names, they will give names to the house. Outside the house, they'll have a name. Ayodhya. Ayodhya. Beautiful name. Ayodhya. This is Ayodhya. This Rama is there here. Okay. Before you enter, you just change your mindset. Okay. You're entering Rama's place. Like that. Beautiful. Ayodhya. Guru Krupa and all names they'll give. That comes later. For that Guru, there is such a thing called Guru and all has to come. So once that comes, then Guru Krupa, all these names they give. And so, therefore, Sakama Karma. What is all this? This is Karma Yoga part A, right? Part 1. So, Sakama Karma. Artha Pradhana, Kama Pradhana. Yeah. Dharma is there. And of course, Ishvara is there. Therefore, Pradhanataya, Artha Kama Pradhana, and then Prasada Buddhi, Bhavanaya, okay? Karma Kuru. Okay? That is Karma Yoga. Everything is for me. Whatever I do, it's for my sake, my family's sake. Okay. And that's okay. Go do it like that. But all the things you're doing, it's good. The Prasada Buddhi is there. So that's also very good. And you know what? The postman brings in letters. Okay. Mail used to come. And in the US, what happened? Uh, there is always this letter coming from the insurance company, some health condition, this, that, insurance, there's always this insurance thing goes on there. There we spend half our lives just dealing with the insurance companies. Here, there's no such thing in India. We don't worry. Something happens. But Vahanto, this is a very big deal. And so this letter from the insurance company open. We don't know how much of the expenses they are reimbursing. Okay. Is it going to be 90% reimbursing or is it 60%? They're going to decline some expenses. What? That's a very anxious moment, very anxious moment. So this constantly happens. So one day, you know what I decided? I decided whenever I get the letters, I'm going to first take it to the puja room and put it right there, right under the feet of Bhagavan. Just put it there. That's it over. Letter, you open it later. Utility bills, all these things will come. And so later you open it later. But first put it there. Then do your work, whatever. Then finally come back and say, hey, Bhagavan ka prasad hai. So you're going to do your namaskar, etc. Evening puja will be over. And then you pick up the letters. You got today's prasadam is these letters. Okay. And so like that, I used to literally practice it like this. And even today we do that. And so because whatever comes, because you don't know what's going to come, right? You don't know what's going to come. It can be good news, bad news, neutral news. And so all that is present. Take it as present. That attitude, that attitude. And so, therefore, moksha is not in the radar. Correct? Moksha is not in the radar. Nowhere to be seen, moksha, etc. That's all fine. This is Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga part A. Then what happens? some change begins to occur. And what happens? This guy is in WhatsApp groups and all that, alumni WhatsApp group, this WhatsApp group, relatives WhatsApp group, mother side relatives, father side relatives. There's all kinds of WhatsApp groups there. And he begins to, alumni group is a very important group, right? And so suddenly somebody says, I'm in my village, I'm doing a project. My temple is bit, dilapidated, and so I have to do something. We're all getting together. Um, I'm raising some funds for it. This guy he's not given even one paisa to anybody. Okay. And so I mean myself. And Bhagavan to hai, lekin never given anything at all. Getting. Karma Yoga party is what? Getting. Then people say, yeah, great idea. I want to give 100 rupees. I want to give 1,000 rupees. I want to. This guy says, oh. And then suddenly he slowly strikes. Okay, no, people are serving society. People are serving society. That that thing strikes. It has to have a right context. And so it strikes. Then he writes his first check. First check to something, some of the causes like that. Okay. And relatives group, something similar happens. We're educating poor children. Then I say, oh, it's all corruption, this, that, people don't use the money. I'll have to find an excuse. Then the excuse also goes away after some time. And then the concern for society, etc., will begin. And so this paropakara buddhi comes. Paropakara. Because everything is done, children are settled and all that. So what do I do with this thing? And suddenly all these things become natural. So Karma Yoga part B, instead of saying I mean myself, now I have to say, I have to focus on the rest of the world. I'm not an isolated entity in this world. Previously, I was getting maximize profits, maximize whatever I get. Okay. Now it's not like that. Thinking gradually changes. Okay. And so uh, in the US, we used to teach children a particular subhashit. Shrotram Shrute Naiva. Listen to this, very beautiful subhashit. Some of you will know this. Shrotram Shrute Naiva. Natu Kundalena. Shrotram is ears. The ears are great. The ears are shining not because of this kundala, kundala, golden earrings and all, not because of that. Shrute naiva, because the ears are hearing good things, because the ears are hearing things that elevate you, and that's why the ears are embellished, okay, shining, okay, like that. We tell children. And this thing has to be elaborated for children. Children may not understand the statement. So for us, we know, hey, let's listen to things that are subtle and that we are constantly missing. That's why Bhadram Karne Vishrunuyama Deva. Correct? Bhadram Karne Vishrunuyama Deva. Bhadram Pashe Macha Vishviryajatraha. Very beautiful. The mantra itself is there. This is a mantra from the Atharvana Veda. Okay? We chant this before we study Mundaka Upanishad or Mandukya Upanishad, both of which are from the Atharvana Veda. So that's the Shanti mantra, like we do a Shanti mantra called Sahana. So, Shrotram Shrutenaiva Natu Kundalena. Then what? Danena Panihi Natu Kankanena. Danena Pani. Pani means hand. Hastaha. So what is it that makes this hand great? Okay. Not by wearing all these kankanas and things like that people wear, kada gida and all, they wear all kinds of stuff in the hand and make it big, and rings and all that are there, not in one ring, but many rings. No, that's not what makes this hand important, significant. What is it? Danena panihi. Danena pani. Danena. Do you do danam or not? Does this hand give or not? Giving is what makes this hand good. Okay, that is the idea there. Then what? Vibhati ka yaha karuna parana. Vibhati kayaha karuna parana. So for great people, their whole body itself shines, it seems. Bhati kayaha. Kayaha means body, sharira. The whole body shines. How does it shine? Paropakaraihi natu. Paropakaraihi, because they're constantly giving to other people. They're giving to other people. That's why this body shines. Natu chandane, not by applying chandan all over the body. That's not the way the body shines. Don't get carried away by that. Like that, this little beautiful Subhashitam says. And so Astasya Bhushanam Dhanam, like that somebody wrote. Kantasya Bhushanam Shastram. Astasya Bhushanam Dhanam means the ornament of the hand is Dhanam. Kantasya Bhushanam.
Satyam Kanthasya Bhushanam.
Satyam Kantasya Bhushanam. Satyavak, speaking the truth, is the greatest jewel, is the jewel of this speech. Etc. There is another beautiful Satyam Kantasya Bhushanam, Shrotrasya Bhushanam, Shastram, and then
Bhushanam Kim Prayojanam. Bhushanaihi Kim Prayojanam.
Bhushanaihi Kim Prayojanam. Okay. So Astasya Bhushanam Dhanam. Okay, the jewelry for the hand is Dhanam. Okay. Satyam Kantasya Bhushanam. Speaking truth. Then what? Shrotrasya Bhushanam Shastram. Shastram is the jewelry for the ears. Bhushanaihi Kim Prayojanam. What is the use of all this jewelry? These things we used to study as kids, I tell you. My goodness. So this guy says, okay, I would like to donate a little bit of money, he says, and then he starts his life thinking of others, thinking of others. Okay? And so, therefore, uh, now, the definition of success in this person's life will change. Previously, definition of success was how much I got. Now the definition is slowly going to change. Slowly going to change. Not right away, but slowly. How much I gave. Did I help when my help was called for? When I knew I had to do something, did I do? Okay. It may have been difficult, little bit. Not giving money, no. Just somebody who had to been given tuition. I am a mathematics expert, and so do something. Children want tuition. There are many people who don't even know that there is something called tuition, who don't even know that if that they don't know, they can't say I'm not studying well. We are supporting some children, and I spoke to this person, and this guy just before exams he says, I'm not good at all this. So we that sometimes people are like that. Sometimes they cannot accept help. Sometimes they will immediately learn, be ready to accept help. All these issues are there. So just saying the right words at the right time, that's great. That is dhanam. And so previously what? Religious, now religious and beginning to be spiritual. Why spiritual? The minute I think of others, what will happen is it is automatically thinking of myself also. Previously thinking of myself as secure myself, secure myself, secure myself. Now thinking about why, oh my God, I have ignored people. I have ignored a lot over the years that I have ignored. So that is spiritual. That's what makes it spiritual. And so Arpana Bhavana starts. Arpana Bhavana. Prasada Bhavana is there anyway. And then now Ishvara Arpana Bhavana comes. Okay? Giving. The idea of giving comes. And and so when the idea of giving comes, automatically Sakama will slowly become Nishkama. Nishkama. Why? So we don't have to worry about what is this Nishkama? Do I have to give up all my desires? No, you don't have to give up any desires. The more you do, what will happen? More you give, what will happen? The less I'm thinking about myself. The less I'm thinking about myself means the more I'm putting up with inconveniences to myself. Because for me, the whole world is important. Whole world is important. Ecology. And so in our culture, it's so easy. Now, Pancha Mahayajna also becomes important. The other day, right? Swamiji said, hey, Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina, Sarve Santu Niramaya. May everybody in this world get what they want. After saying this mantra, you don't have to say a separate mantra for me and myself, correct? May I be good. May my family be happy. Okay, it's not needed because I am included in the survey also. Survey, not survey, survey, Sanskrit survey. Okay, and so, uh, that's Karma Yoga, part A and part B. Okay, first is Prasada Buddhi, Dharma, okay, Artha and Kama Pradhana. Second, now spiritual part B Karma Yoga is Paropakara Pradhana, Dharma Pradhana. Even moksha comes into life. Of course, moksha will automatically come into life because the person is going to start asking some questions, yeah, fundamental questions. And then what happens? Then what happens? The karma yoga is always extrovert, karma based life. Okay, good or not, karma based life. And so Swami Paramarthanandaji specifically brings in Upasana Yoga. It's also part of Karma Yoga formally, but informally, Upasana Yoga. So Dhyana Pradhana Jivanam. Dhyana Pradhana. So the Dhyana is needed. Dhyana can be in the form of thinking also, thinking about the Purushartha. What is it that I am supposed to get in my life? Okay, is that question. All along, I've been happy only, but then really, without knowing what I really want in life, I've been doing what I'm doing. Now, what do I want? That what do I want? What am I supposed to achieve? What does the Shastram say? If that to internalize that thought, the Upasana Yoga is mentioned. So, Dhyana, primarily Dhyana. Without Shravanam, Dhyana. Without Shravanam, okay? So, a lot of people, they do that. They do Dhyana. They talk about meditation. But talk about meditation without really knowing about Vedanta, the ends of life, etc. But just appreciating that Ishvara is there and that Ishvara can be brought into one's life and then meditate on Ishvara. Take one japa, one word, two words, and then repeat again and again. That is enough. That's the best. Nothing special. I need special meditations, this, that, not needed at all. Meditation's purpose is this, to bring ourselves back to ourselves. All along, I've been extra, just bahirmukha. In Sanskrit, they use the word bahirmukha. Means always wanting something. Always wanting. Even the dharmic person and even the outgoing, the what do you call it? The even the philanthropist, even the guy who won the sevak is also looking to do seva. Good, very good. But it's all outward looking, going away from my true nature, really speaking. Therefore, the Shastra will say, even to that guy who is serving society all day long, to that person also the Shastra will say, wait, take some time out from this. Just spend some time with yourself. Study the Bhagavad Gita. Just come back to yourself. Okay. Then you do your seva later on. Okay. Like that it says. So that is the purpose of this so-called Upasana Yoga. Upasana Yoga. And there is a book which Swami refers to this book periodically. How to Win Friends and Influence People. Dale Carnegie. How many of you have heard of this book? Yeah. Many of you have heard.
Bestseller once upon a time. Of course, now also maybe.
You know, you know what? I don't know. Traditional people will not be impressed by that. Traditional in India, I'm talking. The mindset has to be very different. and maybe marketing oriented and all that one mind has to have to appreciate a book like this. Otherwise, how to win friends and influence people. Yeah, it was a bestseller. Bestseller. Dale Carnegie. We can't even forget that name. And whether we may have heard of Carnegie Mellon University or not, this name comes to mind. Okay. So that is all Bahirmukha. What I said that is Bahirmukha. That is, how do I get things from this world? How can I maximize, right? That was the outlook rather. Now it's all. Do what minimum is needed. You do take care of your family, everything. Then now the focus has to be Antarmukha. It has to come inwards. That is the meaning of Antarmukha. One mantra actually says that. In Upanishad, when we study Mundaka, Mundaka is also a very nice Upanishad. We'll pick up after the Katha Upanishad, we'll pick up Mundaka. Paranchikani Vyatranat Swayambhuru Tasmat Paran Pashyati Nantaratman. Paranchikani Vyatranat Swayambhu. Swayambhu, Bhagavan, ek aisa kaam kiya. He has done such a job on us, on people. What kind of job he has done? Paranchikani. These 5 senses he has given us. These 5 senses are all looking outwards, it seems like this. They have no choice but to do that. That is their only job. And he's given us senses, and we are constantly looking outward. Paranchikani. Paranchi means outward. At this mantra, it is Paranchikani Vyatranat Swayambhuhu Tasmat Paran Pachyati. Therefore, just because by virtue of sense organs being like that, Tasmat, therefore Parang Pashyati means looking outward. He's constantly looking outward. Na Antaratman, always looking outward, but never inward. There is something called Atma. Guy doesn't know at all. Why? Because this is God's job only. Swayambhu ka job hai. Okay? He's done this kind of job. Brahmaji has done this job. And so that's the first line. Tasnantaratman. Kaschid dhiraha. Kaschid dhiraha. Yeah, it comes in Kathopanishad itself. Right? Maybe it comes in both of them. Kaschid dhiraha. Okay. Avritta chakshuhu. Kaschid dhiraha. Dhiraha means one viveki. One person, rare person. Kaschit says, you know what? There's something more to life than all of this. And then Kaschit dhiraha. Avritta chakshuhu or Avritta chakshuhu means the eyes are turned inwards, it seems. Avritta chakshuhu are turned inwards. Kaschit dhiraha. Pratyagatmanam aikshat. That person looks for Pratyagatma. Yes, as it were, looks for Pratyagatma. Avritta chakshuhu. Amritatvam icchan. Seeking what is called Amritatvam or moksha. Like that, this mantra says. This is where all this turning inwards and all comes, correct? Turning inward. And so, that's the purpose of that Upasana Yoga is that turning inward. And why should you turn inward? In Kathopanishad, we just saw Ritam Pibantau Sukritasya Loke Guham Pravishtav Parame Paradhe. Question was asked, this Jivatma and Paramatma have entered this guha, this cave called the heart, it seems. So we have to turn inward. If you want Paramatma, you have to kind of turn inward because it's hiding in a cave. It takes some effort to get him out of the cave, as it were. Okay, and so all that we saw. That's the indication to us that Yo Veda Nihitam Guhayam Parame Vyoman Taittiriya Upanishad. So Oshnute Sarvan Kamaan Saha. So same thing, same idea is put forth in different words, different contexts like that. Yeah. Therefore, Antarmukhi Bhava. Antarmukhi Bhava is the purpose of Upasana Yoga. And then, so there, Ekarupa Ishvaraha, Vishwarupa Ishvaraha, all this we talked about before. Do Dhyanam on Ekarupa Ishvara, Vishwarupa Dhyanam. Both have Rupa, so therefore it is possible to do Dhyanam. And Ekarupa Ishvara helps me focus. Focus is there. Because the Bahirmukha guy, the guy is very dynamic, all right, very efficient, all right, but the guy can't focus. You ask him to sit and close the eyes, he can't close the eyes. Forget dhyanam. Closing the eyes for a little long itself is going to be very difficult. Very difficult. And so, helps me focus. Ekarupa Ishvara helps me focus. Vishwarupa Ishvara helps me expand my mind. Expand the mind means it's not just about my body and my family. It's life is big. And so let me focus on the bigness of this Jagat for a change. Okay. And that's what is needed for our moksha. Somebody else's moksha, all this is not needed. Even Vishishta Advaita, they don't need all this. I heard a famous speaker, very, very famous speaker. He says, I don't know why they do dhyana. This is the sentence he used. Then only I understood Vishishta Advaita. Thanks to him, I understood it. And so dhyana is not needed. Why? If Swarga, going to Swarga is our goal, we don't need to spend time sitting with ourselves. Not needed. You have to visualize Vishwarupa and then Vishnu, and then praise Vishnu. All that is very important. Your bhakta, all that is very important. So for us, everything is useful. There is nothing we never say this is not good and that's not. Everything is useful. Therefore, that is Upasana Yoga. And that should lead that person to what? Now what if the person asks, okay, now we have something for you called Upanishad and Bhagavad Gita. Okay, I'm ready. Swamiji is coming to town. I want to go. I want to listen to Swamiji. Wow. Where was this guy and now what is he talking? His language has changed. Correct? Starting from giving 100 rupees, now his language is changed. He says, I want to listen to Swami. Okay, good. Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasam. That's what we are doing now. And so, because jnana, yogyata is there, that the person has gained the yogyata, that he has come to a point where he can ask the question. He can begin asking fundamental questions, and you can't turn him away with asking some silly answers. You can't give that person, right? So, Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam. And so, that person is ready to go from Paroksha Ishvara to, if the idea of Aparoksha Ishvara is introduced, the mind is going to accept that. Okay. Sagunam Brahma, Ishvara is Sagunam Brahma. Now you should begin to think about Nirgunam Brahma. Yes, person is ready. Ready. Okay. Then Atma is not different from Ishvara. Jiva is not different from Ishvara. Fundamentally, person is ready. Okay. All along, these concepts were not probably heard. That's about it. Now it becomes, you have to, understanding this itself becomes the goal of one's life. Okay. You know, we gave an award to somebody recently. Our trust, I've been always wanting to give awards and recognize people. And in our case, people who've done work in the area of Vedanta or Sanskrit. So, good friend called Alan Kellogg, Aruna. He lives in Rishikesh. He's a Caucasian American, white American. And he studied under Chinmayananda, 1976 course he took long ago. This is the second 3-year course that ever happened. Okay. And Chinmayanandaji was there, Dayanandaji was teaching, etc. And he came out of that. Then he went back to the US and then he did some job, etc. In 2000, he quit everything and he comes back to India. Been in India since 2000. And I used to live in Coimbatore for some time, Rishikesh sometime, etc. Alan. Okay. Okay, Ramuji says first course was for 5 years. Okay. Long time. 5 years sitting in an ashram means you look at the commitment that is there. Okay, look at the commitment. So he developed a site called upasanayoga.org. For that only we gave him an award. the name of the award is Arshaseva Chudamani, the jewel of Arshaseva. That is what I've given him. Okay? Now, and we honored him in that our Sanskrit class students, graduation day. How many of you were there in that session? Okay, Mahesh Ji, Raghavan, few others were there. Correct. Correct. And so, what happened? Lakshmi, Girish, Rukmini, Vijay, Swapna, very unusual. Videos are all turned off. And, this is my only chance to see you. And so, at the end, you know what happened? We gave the award and all. And then we had a casual dialogue between Alan and everybody else. Q&A, right? Q&A with Alan. That's what it was. And we were just casually chatting. He talked about Western philosophies and all he studied. So I asked him about what is that? What's the difference? He used a word. He said, Western philosophies, they are often destructive and competing, as opposed to Indian philosophies, which are constructive and uplifting. Those words he used. Okay. So we had some discussion on that. And then he said one more thing. And I said, you know what? For us, this dharma, this moksha shastram is a do or die. Correct? Do or die. Means I have to get it in this life. It's not optional. It's not optional. Whereas philosophy is optional. You can study philosophy or you don't have to study philosophy. You can get a degree in philosophy or you don't have to get a degree. There's no connection between that philosophy and the life. Okay, life to be led. You are a professor of philosophy. You're getting paid a salary, etc. But here also we are studying even deeper stuff than that. But nobody gets paid for it. It's not optional. It is a part of our tradition. Philosophy there is not a part of our tradition. Therefore, how can you use the word philosophy for what we are studying? So many differences are there. Okay. And he said one more thing. Okay. He said one thing. He said, and we are studying exactly what was studied in the past also. Means all our acharyas studied the same thing and they are teaching the same thing and we are studying the same thing. Means what? Nothing new is being created. There, they are constantly churning out some new thing or the other. You're publishing papers because the minute you're publishing papers, it has to be new. It can't be the same old stuff. Aracha mavu, the ground mavu, this flour you grind, they say, keep on grinding the ground floor. You don't get anything out of it. So that's not acceptable there. But here, the last word has been said. The last word has been said. Therefore, the same thing is being. He reminded us that. Alan reminded us. And the same thing he says. So look at the way how far we have come, right? By thinking like this. And so he mentioned that, and I appreciated him for that. Pura prokta mayanaga. Krishna is saying this. It is not, therefore, it is not Krishnology. If it was Krishna's idea, it has to be Krishnology. We're all studying Krishnology. Oh, it's not Krishnology. Krishna himself attributes. He himself went to Sandipani, etc. And so there is the question of Krishnology. And so that is Jnana Yuga, which we also saw. Nirgunam Brahman. 7th chapter. Paraprakriti and Aparaprakriti. We saw that in the 7th chapter. And Bhagavan Sri Krishna reminded or introduced that idea to Arjuna. There is something called Paraprakriti. Paraprakriti is what you're familiar with, but begin thinking about Paraprakriti. Okay. Nirgunam Brahma. The whole world is Namarupa. And Namarupa, the pot is, you say this is a pot, and but then don't forget the clay. Don't forget the clay. You are looking at clay. In fact, you are holding clay only. You are not really holding pot. You use the word pot, but it's all clay. Every atom of this is clay's atom. It is not pot's atom. Okay, correct? Therefore, Paraprakriti, he introduced in the chapter. So, that Nirgunam Brahma Vidya. Brahma Vidya is Sagana Brahma Vidya leading towards Nirguna Brahma Vidya. Only the Nirgunam Brahma can be I, Atma. Therefore, Atma is called Paramatma. Therefore, God can be called Paramatma. Because essentially, the Atma, Jivatma and Paramatma, essentially are identical. You take the Nama Rupa out, that's it. What is left is Nirgunam Brahma. Okay. All that we saw, we've been seeing it. And so, Shravanam, Mananam will be there, is needed because Shravanam is meant for understanding. As Swami Tadatmanandaji says, I have asked you not to believe what I say, but to understand what I say. What a big difference it is. If you have to believe what the teacher says, you simply believe it. You don't have to do any more analysis. Why? The minute you ask, why is it like this? That means you don't believe the person, correct? How come it's like this? If you say, how come? That means you are questioning your guru. You don't believe. And our Shastram says, yes, please don't believe. Don't believe what we say. Understand what we say. Therefore, Mananam is automatic. Mananam is automatic. Maitreyi is asking so many questions of Yajnavalkya when he said about this, and she is so inquisitive. She said, tell me more, tell me more. Tell me more, not stories. Tell me, I'm following what you're saying. Tell me. And therefore, that is that Jnana Yoga. And therefore, we are not going to ask, which path should I take? Should I take the Karma Yoga path or Vipassana Yoga path or Jnana Yoga path? That question is, okay, if somebody asks the question, you don't have to make fun of that person. We don't know anything. So when we don't know anything, any kind of question can come out. And so knowing, you can't ask the question. It is like saying, are you going to go to primary school or secondary school or high school or college? Because you can go anywhere, you know. Have you chosen what you want to do? There is no choice here, my dear friend. There is no choice. You have to go where you fit in. And so that was the doubt Arjuna had. You are praising knowledge, but you're asking me to fight. Okay, like that he said, right? So, therefore, in this chapter is kind of a review, and the chapter will start with Arjuna's question. All that we will see. It's a pretty short chapter actually, only 20 shlokas for a change. Those of you who are all this number counting people, the 12th chapter will move pretty fast. Okay. So, with that, I also once again seek the prayers, seek the blessings of Swamiji and all our acharyas, and ask them that they continue to keep us in this path and allow us to finish the 12th chapter. Thank you very much. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.